Okay, I feel very honored that you guys are allowing me to share my father with you. My father lost his wife at the age of 25. She was 25 and he had 3 little kids. I was 7, Julie was 5, and Tressa was 3. And for most of my life, I had some harsh feelings toward my dad because he kind of disappeared after my mom passed. And my grandparents came in and kind of took over, very German Catholic grandparents. And so I had a lot of healing to do as I grew up with, not having the love that I felt for my mother. And there was a lot of anger that I had toward my dad. And I had to work on that throughout my whole life of letting go. But the thing that I'm so grateful for is today that I understand that life is an unfoldment. That life is experiences that we have one after the other for the good of our unfoldment. So that we can learn how to overcome obstacles. We can learn about death and life and what that looks like in a metaphysical way. So today, I'm very grateful. Dad was home with us. He got to come home from the hospital and be with us. And I was able to look at him and touch him and lay next to him and talk to him. And I was able to let him know that, wow, Dad, wow, look what you did. You lost your wife at such a young age and these children. Wow, the pain you had to have felt and have gone through. I felt so blessed that I had come to this realization of what this man lived through. Wow. And I was able to thank him and let him know how grateful I was that he kept us safe. That he always looked out for us, even though he maybe couldn't be there physically, emotionally, because of his own pain. And another thing I'm so grateful for him for is it created strength in his children. We are all very strong individuals. We're leaders. We're entrepreneurs. We're very strong because we learn to overcome and stand on our own, yet still being supported by him. Knowing that we are always all doing the very best we can at every given time. And what I loved about this song was Dad did not want to leave. He was very sad that he had to leave us. It was not a choice that he wanted to go. He wanted to be with us, and he let me know that. But he said, but I'm tired. I'm so tired. So when I heard this song, Daddy Don't Cry, it made me think of that he was very sad that he had to go. But we're grateful that we know the truth about this process. And so we're going to go in this process today a little bit. But I wanted you to kind of know my dad and how grateful I am to him. And this process that we live through with every relationship that we have in our life. If we can just stop and see everything that happens as our opportunity to forgive, to accept, to love, no matter what. No matter what. So as we go through this talk, I invite you to journal if something comes up for you. I invite you to listen to your heart. If there's something in you that you're still grieving, somebody, an experience, to look deep into your own heart so that you can release that today, as I will be doing. And then we can affirm our truth to fill that void. And if you don't have anything to release, we did a burning bowl last week and we did a drumming circle release, so you might not have a lot going on. You may have really cleared the way for that truth. I would invite you to come and light a candle for my father. If you don't want to release, just to light a candle for my father. Because he's right here. He's right here with us. Very present. I feel him. So what is life? They say it's from B to D, from birth to death. But what's between B and D? It's a C. It's a choice. So we believe here, our third principle, that we create, right? We create by the thoughts we're holding. If there's negative thoughts, we're going to have a negative experience. If there's positive thoughts, we're going to have a positive experience. We're creating it all the time. So every choice we make is an opportunity to choose the spiritual beingness of you or to choose the materialistic humanness of you. And those can be blended together. But when you're living totally in the materialistic world and you're not connected to the spirit that you truly are, the image and expression, a creator of all that is, then you're going to go down a path that's going to be filled with obstacles. Because it's going to give you an opportunity to remove that. So maybe this time I will connect with that divinity within me. And the next obstacle comes up. Well, maybe this time I'll connect. But it's your choice. It's always your choice. What do you want to experience in life? Start creating it. Start using your power of imagination. See it. Feel it. Remember, feelings fuel it. They raise the vibration and they fuel the manifestation. It's your choice. So, this is a Shakespeare. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances. And one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. And all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances. And I repeated that. So we'll just say it again. So, 7 stages. So look at this. We come in as this innocent, crying infant. Now we have a different way that we look at being born. We do not believe here that we come in being a sinner, having original sin and having to be baptized. We believe we come in our true divinity. That we're the light coming into the world. And that changes as we become programmed. As we start becoming conditioned. Schools, parents, teachers. We're just being like a program. Like a computer. And unless we make our own choices and come into our own heart and know what is right for us and what we desire to create, we're going to be living on autopilot. Doing whatever we were programmed to do. So, the infant comes in crying. Crying to be born into a world that's what happens. And then you have a complaining schoolboy. We go into the years of growing up, adolescence, and learning and how to be what everybody else is being. To be what people think I should be. We start putting all the masks on, right? Don't want nobody to see me. Don't want nobody to see the real me. Right? I want to please the crowd. Do what everybody else is doing. Then we become the lover. We maybe find somebody in our life that we want to love. And that's what we've been trained to do. You get married, you have a family, blah, 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 blah. So learning to love is loving all. Right? And then the bearded soldier. We go through all these battles in our life, right? One battle after the other. And then we start learning. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to keep going through these experiences that bring me struggle, that bring me pain. I don't want to live in this ignorant state, not knowing who I truly am. What can I do? So the wise justice. Then we start learning wisdom. We start being curious. There's got to be something better than this. This can't be what it's all about. I heard Mom say that the other day. There's got to be something better than this. This is life. Ugh. Well, sure, if we look at it that way. But if we start becoming curious and we start going outside and we start diving in to different truths, different things that we can resonate with, that bring us up and out of the world. And how do we do that here? We go within. This is where it is, within us, within our hearts. That's where we touch God. That's where we touch our Creator. It's in here. So once we obtain now wisdom, then when we look out here, everything looks different. We see through different eyes, different perception. Well, this is good for the whole. Whatever it is, we change our glasses, put on different glasses. And then we come the old man. We age, but with us comes all that wisdom. And the sad thing is that life has kind of changed from the Indians, and where they honored their wisdom. They honored their elderly. They took care of them, knowing that they were the ones filled with all of the experiences. They lived it. They knew how to overcome. So we're getting back to that now, though, where we're going to start becoming closer to the elderly people, because they're the ones that will guide us. And then we come into our second childhood. It's the full circle of life. Like Dad. You know, he got to where he couldn't take care of himself. We had to take care of him. So it's that full circle. But for what happens now? Is it over? Is his life done with? That's just it? That's all there is? Well, let's see. So here's Eric Butterworth. He's a metaphysician and was a big front person in the Unity movement. And he says, do not think of goodbye. Rather think of blessings and Godspeed on his way. For the departed, it is a moving forward. For us, it is a new beginning. Your grief represents your effort to hold back the change. Now listen to this. Your grief represents the effort to hold back the change, which must be accepted, and we must move on. Grief is not for your loved one, but for you. It is an expression of self-pity that helps no one. So, there's nothing wrong with grieving. It's part of the process. But it is when you hold on to it and you can't move forward. Because remember, there's one presence and one power, and we are part of that one presence and one power. So if you're holding on and we're not letting go of Dad, we're actually kind of keeping him here. It's time for him to go on and have new experiences. It's time for him to maybe jump into another, I've heard what, a muscle suit? The meat suit. Yeah. Well, some may be muscle. I got a Buffy over here. So. Start calling my brother Buffy because he came home and he's all buffed up now. I was like, okay, Buffy. But, so, you know, we want to let go of Dad. We want him to be able to soar to his next experience. Because life never ends. Never. So here's the 12 Powers by Charles Fillmore. Charles Fillmore is our co-creator of Unity back in late 1800s. And he says, the desire to live does not cease when the body dies. The mind lives on, not in heaven or hell, but in the state of consciousness that it has cultivated in life. Mind does not change with the change of environment. So I love this. It's like, wow. So just think about it. When we cross over, make our transition, we're going to take that state of consciousness with us. And I found that really interesting, that we're not even going to be like, our consciousness isn't even going to be elevated just because we passed over and transitioned. The environment's going to change. We're no longer going to be in this physical body, but our consciousness, which is all that is still going to be in the same stage as it was when it was in the body. So isn't that cool? And then whatever we need to learn in our next experience, we'll say what we will take on in the next life. So I just found that very interesting. I didn't realize that there would be no change in the mind as we transition. But that's what Mr. Fillmore says. So what about reincarnation, the word? Most of us here believe in reincarnation. Charles Fillmore believed in reincarnation. So we're going to go to the revealing word, which is our dictionary for metaphysical terms, and look at reincarnation. When a soul leaves the body, it rests for a season. This innate desire for material expression asserts itself, and the ego seeks the primal cell and builds another body. This is reincarnation. Reincarnation will continue until the ego awakens to the Christ mind and through it builds an imperishable body. Wow. So, until we come in to understanding that I and the Father, I and all that is one, there are no separations, there are no duality, until we come into that realization and we come into a consciousness that Christ, Jesus, as a man, was able to obtain, and we as humans are able to obtain by the demonstration that Jesus showed as he walked the face of the earth. So until we do that, we will probably pick up the suit again and put it on and come back so that we can learn that truth. Pretty cool, huh? And I also want to say, here at Unity, you are allowed to feel, believe, any way you want to. I give you our truths that we have here, and you make sense out of what resonates with you. If it doesn't resonate, move on. If it does, maybe dive in deeper to it. And maybe if it doesn't resonate, maybe dive in deeper to just see a little bit more about it. That's how we grow, right? Yeah. So, as I'm reading this book here, The Light Shall Set You Free, I recommend this for all Unity people. It is filled with all the universal laws of life. And it talks about tests of initiation. And these are different levels that we go through to obtain a consciousness, the Christ consciousness. And the first is learn lessons of the heart. What does that mean? It just means to love. To learn how to live from your heart and not this thing up here. We want to connect the two. We want to connect the mind with the heart. So you make your decisions from the heart. Okay? Focus our will. And when I say focus our will, what is the will of the divinity within you? Which is the will of God. Your will is God's will. You're the creator with God. So what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on that divinity within you? Or are you focusing on something outside of you? You will never find the peace and joy and harmony that you have from Creator out here. It's all in here. And then you ripple it out from you. So what are you focusing on? Acquire higher values. Do you value compassion? Do you value kindness? Do you value empathy? Do you love the people in your life, no matter what? No matter how many times you disagree? No matter what. Acquire higher values in life. Because when you're down here in life, and you're in the fear, and you're into anger and unforgiveness, your vibration is so low. You can't experience the vibration of the fifth dimension, which we're all going into, which is that peace and that love. Right? You want to reach up and go higher. Balance the masculine and feminine energies within. So we're going from the age of Pisces, which is very, very masculine world, where men led, where wars were created. No more playing with their toys and guns. It became real. Right? So why does it become real? Because we held it in our consciousness. We fueled the energy by making it real. My dad loved cowboy shows. You go over there, it was cowboy or war or guns or woo, you know. And I believe that affected his mind. I believe there was warring going on within him. Because for most of us, we know we don't watch certain things, right? We don't watch the news. We don't watch all that stuff. Because that becomes a part of our consciousness. And it covers up the light and it covers up the love of God. So we don't even put it into our consciousness. We just know that there's divine order happening. And we're loving what is, no matter what it is. And that's how we change the world. One person at a time. So we're going into the feminine energies now. The feminine energies. Men were wisdom and knowledge and, a lot of the brain. The feminine is the love and the heart and the compassion. So when you bring those two together, beautiful balance. We've been off balance. The age of Aquarius we're going into that now. The age of love, the age of connection, the age of we, not me, but we. Beautiful time. And let's put those balances out. Learn unconditional love and forgiveness. Unconditional. Most of us don't even know what that is. No conditions, no expectations. Just loving because you're loved. Loving because the other person is loved. Just loving. That's what it's all about. So that's the highest level of the initiation that they talked about. And if you have not forgiven someone, you're vibrating so low. Forgiveness is what Jesus taught. Jesus forgave everybody. He's our example. He's our way shower. He's our demonstration. So if you're holding on that, think of what Jesus said. I forgive them for they know not what they do. Most people do not know what they do because their consciousness is still asleep. They're not paying attention. They're not observing the self from within and what they're projecting outside of themselves. They're in an ignorant state of consciousness. So when we come to understand that, we come to understand that we need to forgive ourselves for ever thinking anything less than that. It's not even about forgiving them. It's forgiving myself that I ever thought that they could hurt me or be anything else than love. So if you got any of that going on today, let's get it released if you're ready. Only when you're ready. We don't do anything until we're ready to do it. Don't feel forced. Okay, so this book here, I'm going to go into a little bit of what they talk about, what happens after a person makes their transition. And these are doctors that wrote the book, but this is also a book of channeled ascended masters. And so this comes from up on high, the highest love and the highest light. So the first thing that they talk about is their death and departure. People describe the death process as one of leaving their physical bodies and hovering over them for a period of time. They report a sense of freedom and brightness. And I felt my dad with me these last few days. My mom has even asked me to talk to him, and and I said, you can talk to him, he's right here. Our presence is one. So when you open your channel, you can talk to anyone. My mother is one of my spirit guides. So it's just, first of all, you have to believe that. You have to come to believe that you're capable of that. And then you'll start opening up to the other side. Because it's just like walking into another room for them. They've just walked into another dimension, another realm of existence. Movement toward the light. After a period of time, which varies, they report moving through a tunnel toward light. At the end of the tunnel, they are met by someone who has meaning for them. A guide, a relative, a close friend, etc. They feel unconditional love that they have not felt on earth. And we had a minister that came to the house, Scott, I don't remember his last name. Do you, Jason? I don't know. Okay. Well, he was into drugs and alcohol and all kinds of things, and he had a near-death experience. Well, he died and came back, and there was like a lake of crystals that he saw. It was all crystals. But what he talked about more than anything, he came to see my dad during this process. But what he talked about more than anything else was the love, the feeling, like nothing he had ever felt, And no one ever wants to come back once they feel that, because it's something we as human beings don't experience until we remove those blocks to that awareness of that love. So he was able to share that with us. Then you go through an orientation. New arrivals are taken to a place of healing where they have counseling sessions with their guides. This accumulates in a session of divine judgment or self-judgment. And then you spend time in a staging area, and then if you're coming back for experiences, your souls will determine your new physical life and your new body. We actually choose our parents from the research that I've read, and for whatever experience, whatever lesson, whatever we want to learn in that lifetime, we make our choices before we come back into it. So I'm going to read you something from the Ascended Master here. The soul comes to the table of the oversoul to become united with others, composing a group of 1,000 souls. The surprise and confusion are short-lived, and the remembrance of the process is soon integrated into the moment. Each member presents from the larger group of 1,000 rejoices at the reintegration of the newly emerging consciousness. At first, the moment is a quiet one, then eventually gives way to the celebration. I bet that's what he's doing now, celebrating. Finally, the moment of truth and assessment comes forth, and all participate in the process. Decisions made at this time affect the entire oversoul, for no soul is allowed to move forward until the entire group of 1,000 has reached the vibrational frequency required to move on. That is why it is so important to assist all souls in embodiment to see the light. And I worked with my dad day after day after day with the light. I was always integrating his light for him, because he did not understand that. He did not believe that. So we're able to help others that, do not have that belief. For this process enhances the whole group's mobility. To love thy neighbor and give assistance when needed is a valuable key to use for the advancement into the higher planes of reality. The golden rule. If we're living by the golden rule, you're vibrating very high. Since no soul in embodiment has access to the complete list of 1,000 names registered in their soul family membership, it becomes imperative that love and forgiveness be bestowed upon all whom they meet. Individual souls are bound to the group of 1,000 until they reach the 5th dimension. This is universal law. After this point has been reached, all directives and rules change, for the higher frequency requires different protocol. Therefore, for all earth inhabitants, it is essential to assist your brothers and sisters into the light, for it could be one decision not to assist that could keep you from thy Father's house. So, wow. We just love each other. Take away the judgment. You're already ascending to that 5th dimension. So, how do we get through the grief that we start and that we're going to let go of, right? But what do we do in the beginning? Cry whenever you need to. Scream, shout. What did I do on the drumming circle Friday night? Screamed, I shouted, I let go, I released. Yes. Lay on the floor, sob in the shower, be still, run, walk, create, listen your truth. Live your truth, share without fear, listen, release your pain, breathe, be courageous, go away the map, wander, be real, be compassionate, read, seek friendship, be vulnerable. Don't fear being broken. It's okay to feel that you're broken, to feel that something's missing, but embrace it, feel it, right? We here know that anytime we have a feeling that's vibrating low, we embrace it, because when we embrace it, we love it and we transmute it, right? We learned about transmutation last week. We're able to transmute that fear to love. But if you push it away or you don't look at it, it's going to be pushed down inside of you, and it's going to create a congestion in the body. Remember, energy, emotion. Energy, emotion is energy in motion. So remember that. So you don't want that energy congested within your being. You want to express it, embrace it, love it, and then you heal it. And then 2 years later, you don't come across with heart problems because, oh, I held that in. I got all this congestion now because I wasn't able to release it, feel it, heal it. Again, what's between B and D? See? Choice. It's your choice. So I'm going to work with my mom to help to assist her so that she can let this go. And I'll be the light for her until she can do that. Right? Yes. So, if you haven't got anything out of this talk at all, I hope at least you will get that this is the promise which he made, himself made to us. Eternal life. You are infinite. You are eternal. You just live in the cycle of life. There's no beginning. There's no ending. Right? So if that's all you got from here, know that you're eternal. And when you lose someone who just transitions and just drops this suit of what do you call it again? Meat suit. I really don't like that. I like muscle suit better. Make me think of Buffy over there. But just, isn't it nice to know, though, when we do, a loved one does transition. Maybe of what they're going into, the celebration that they're having, and what they're going to do next. A new adventure, a new beginning, and a new beginning for us as well. And I'm very grateful for my family today and all the lessons my father learned and all the strength that he created as a foundation for me. I'm so grateful, Dad. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we're going to go into our meditation now. And as you go through this, let's be paying attention to what's coming up. Remember, we're the observer. We're inside here looking out at ourselves. So observe what you're feeling. You need to release something, then do so. It's about 10 minutes long. You gonna be able to sit still, Jace?
You wanna try?
So he does not anchor you in this meditation. So let's sit in our seats. Let's put our feet flat on the floor. Feel the support. Jason works a lot, so his meditation be real good for him. So let's envision now our grounding from our root chakra, from the tailbone, and just envision us connecting to the crystal core of Mother Earth as we ground into her. And then let's come up from that crystal core up into our heart. And now we invite the light of Source to come through our crown and come into our hearts. And here is where we connect with all that is. Take some deep, deep cleansing breaths. Meditation is about the breath. It's about relaxing and allowing the heart, the intuitiveness, the intelligence of God to be heard in the still, small voice. Enjoy.